It says I'm live. I'm hoping I'm live. Uh Here we are. It's noon on this Friday, the 22nd of May. It's beautiful outside. For though I usually give people a minute or two to tune on in, so I'll give you the weather update. Weather update today. Kind of rainy, kind of cool, kind of my vibe. So that's good. I hope all of you have had a spectacular week who are watching or who will be watching at some point, presumably. I also hope, like, if you're watching it later, I don't hope your week is bad. I hope you're having a great week whenever you're watching this, not just this week. Um, just like we've done previously, I may as well kind of just hop into it. Um, I want to thank everybody for your submissions to hear for it. A live Q&A with Connor. I am Connor, and it's a live Q&A. I want to open up with a question that I received that I think honestly spectacular question. Totally understand why you're asking it. Um, Essentially, the question was looking to take time off. I am concerned because I don't want to create inconsistency for my clients. You talk a lot about how consistency is actually very important for clients, so I feel kind of bad for trying to take some time off. Please don't. Oh my God. First off, take time off. You need it. It's incredibly important, I think, from a self care perspective, from you engaging in your life, to know that you can take time off. You need to recharge. You have to recuperate, and you also probably want to do something fun. So please do that. How does that process work for us and our clients? Uh, well, you let us know. I would like to take some time off, please. Could I take some time off? And the answer is, of course, you can. The sooner you let us know, the better. What will happen is that we'll reach out to the client and try to create a plan. Typically, what that plan is going to entail is scheduling a session with a coverage specialist or another staff. The idea here is whether it is you or this other staff or really anybody, they should be able to kind of receive that consistent support that they're looking for. It's why we have the infrastructure set up the way that we do. Um, those staff will come out, they will review your session notes, they'll pick up kind of where you left off, and the idea here is it really does create more consistency for the client. And I understand that it feels sometimes uncomfortable to have somebody else work with a client of yours or whatever. I actually always see this as a really awesome opportunity to see if they're applying a lot of the stuff that I am helping them with, right? Again, the idea for the service is regardless of who's there to support you, whether it's you or me or anybody else, they're able to utilize the skills that we've been working on to continue to live independently. And so it can actually be an empowering time for them. They get to work with somebody new and say, "Oh, this is working exactly as I expected it to. That's great. I can rely on myself and you guys to continue to live my life independently." So uh, uh please please take your time off. Please utilize that. It is important for you to be able to do that, and let us worry about your clients. We will make sure that they are properly supported. We will make sure that we are communicating with them, that there are really no surprises. We always like to make sure that time off is being communicated properly with the client. So please don't take it personally if you say, "Oh, I let them know I'd be out of town next Friday," and then we reach out and reiterate that you're going to be out of town next Friday. It isn't that we don't trust you. But it is important for us to know that we have confirmed with the client, hey, they'll be out. Here is the plan for you for next week or whatever it might be. So take your time off, and we'll take care of the rest. So please, it's summertime. People seem to like this season. Me personally, reviews not so hot, but I understand most people enjoy it. So take time off and enjoy. Uh, I feel like I've spoken well about that. Um, the next question I received was kind of sort of a two-parter. And so I will address both portions because I do think that they kind of feed into each other. So the question I received was essentially saying, "Hey, I'm working with a client of mine, and they are very reluctant to do a whole lot of paperwork stuff, right? And this is kind of wrapped up in an MA renewal, questions about how do I renew MA. So let's parse this out. First, I think the easiest thing to address is what's the process of MA renewals look like? How do I support a client through it? We have like an MA renewal guide, but I can kind of give high level sort of stuff to look for. You are first off going to want the ever important, very interesting DHS 2128. It's that's the official MA renewal document. And that will be kind of what guides you. There's going to be a number of kind of proofs and stuff that you need. You will need to prove identity. You'll need to have like an MA number. All of these lovely things. Oh, hold on. This is fun. Let's watch as Connor struggles with technology and why it's not loading what he wants to. He's got his notes. He's talking in the third person. That means it's going well. Uh, uh, First step is getting that document. Now, usually that is going to be mailed to your client, but if for whatever reason they have lost it or torn it up or said, "Boy, it's chilly. I need something to start a fire with," then they utilize their MA renewal paperwork. Don't worry, it's available online. eDocs, again, the form that you're going to look for is a 2128. That's the MA renewal document. If they are unsure about when is my MA renewing? When is this date? You can look that up online. I will be sending out a recap email for this Q&A, and I will have these links in there for you guys so that you don't have to do a whole lot of searching. They'll be there and available for you, so don't worry. But you will need to check, in order to check that, you'll need a case number, some sort of member number, and 4 digits of a social security so that the system kind of try to figure out who exactly this person is. Documents that you will need for an MA renewal. If they have employment, you're going to want pay stubs. If they have Social Security benefits, you're going to want a benefit letter. They really want that award letter when you are submitting MA. Health insurance policy issue, who's their carrier, any of that stuff, and then asset information. And that's obviously the biggest struggle for a lot of folks is asset stuff. So bank accounts, goodness, do you have ownership for vehicles or for houses? All of that stuff should be submitted to the county. Here's a tip. Here's Connor's tip. Connor, what's easy mode for MA renewals? Genuinely go to the county would be my recommendation. We have a list of county centers that you can kind of go to, bring this paperwork to, and then fill out the renewal application. Make sure everything gets turned in right then and there. There are people who can answer questions, kind of walk you through. That is Connor's preferred method of doing this. But if you say they don't want to go, or it's far away, or whatever the reason may be, you can still submit this via mail. But then you're playing this really fun game where you're constantly checking up to see did they receive the paperwork, and the answer sometimes is maybe, and that stresses people out, understandably so. So I would say go to that county office, try to complete it there. If you are able to, you have to mail it in, just double check, try to make sure. They have a search tool that you can utilize if you're trying to figure out, hey, did my paperwork get sent in? Did the fax get received? If I'm faxing it in, have they received the mail that I went through? Highly recommend, again, going through the county. But that's a really, really quick and dirty. How do I actually do an MA renewal? It's high level, but the paperwork is kind of in its way going to lead you through what you will need, what you need to answer, and what you need to send in. The first part of the question, which I'm actually answering Secondly, which is weird that I ordered it this way because I'm the one deciding how to answer these questions and in what order, but I'm doing it this way because it made sense to me. How do I get a client to really engage with paperwork generally? It's not the most fun. I will actively admit. It's probably not what everybody wants to do. It is incredibly important, and I can encourage my clients. I can say, "Hey, let's work on it. We've got time." Try to set aside time. If you've got a client who's really reluctant to work on paperwork, pre-plan working on it maybe next week, right? Give them some time to prepare for that transition to know, okay, this session's going to be paperwork heavy. It's probably not going to be a laugh a minute, but then we'll be able to move on. Uh, Acquaint them with the consequences of not doing paperwork. Sometimes that works well, right? There is a reason why these renewals are important, and oftentimes clients don't need a lesson in why it's important to turn in your MA renewal paperwork. But just in case, any paperwork that you are submitting, there's a reason you're submitting it. There is a program. There is something that you can utilize through filling out this paperwork that is going to be a benefit to you. And if you are able to kind of do a good job of connecting those dots, hopefully the client's going to say, "Oh yeah, it's worth the effort. I will submit this paperwork." The truth of it is, though, right? I can't compel my clients to send in paperwork to do what they're supposed to. There is in this field the idea of what are called natural consequences, right? If you don't turn in your paperwork, services are going to go away. And that can vary on what service may go away, right? It might be your SNAP benefits if you don't do your SNAP renewal. It might be your MSA if you don't keep up on that. Or it could be your medical assistance, which means your healthcare and your services and your waiver. These things can kind of go away. Um, Usually, I would say typically clients say, yeah, that's absolutely worthwhile. I will put in the time. But there are some who say, I don't need it anymore. I'm okay. I'm going to fly solo. I am going to not do the renewal paperwork, and I'm just going to kind of let uh, the chips fall where they may. And at the end of the day, that is their choice, right? As a person centered provider, I can do all of the encouraging, I can do all of the reminding, I can offer all of the support that I possibly want to, but at the end of the day, it is not my choice to make. And I need to be content with the idea that sometimes clients are going to make choices that I don't necessarily agree with, and I think might actively end up hindering them going forward. But sometimes that's how you learn, right? Uh, Mistakes are, I think, an important way to learn. What is life without these services? Am I able to make it, or did they really provide for me a benefit that I need in order to remain independent, where I want to be living, doing what I want to do? I can explain those to people. I can walk them through. I can voice act. I can role play. I can kind of do whatever I want. But until it actually happens, sometimes the consequences don't really quite sink in, and that's okay. What I would encourage staff to remember is them losing these services is oftentimes a temporary thing, right? If they decide that they want to try to come back, they're reapplying for MA, they're getting their waiver back, they're going through all of this incredibly long process. We'll be here for them if they come back, right? Um, our support is not necessarily always contingent on you making the best choices in the moment, right? Our support is one that abides through good and bad decisions. So I will encourage my clients. I will acquaint them with the consequences. I will remind them that I'm here to support them. I will schedule time. I will do everything I can. That can help a client who is perhaps reluctant or nervous to do paperwork, or to go through that process. But at the end of the day, I also need to be okay with the fact that my clients are going to make their own decisions, and I'm here to work with them through that, however that comes out. But I'm not in control of their life, and I also don't want to be. Hopefully that answers both parts of the question. Again, I will send out a recap with some more of that MA renewal info. I know that that is an annual issue. I know that nobody says, "Oh, good, MA time. This is a blast for me, and I look forward to it every year." Oh, forget the holidays, forget the 4th of July. It's MA renewal time, and I'm super excited. Literally, no one's ever said that. Maybe, I mean, I did just now, but historically, I'm the first. All right. Last question. We're kind of flying through these. I'm so sorry. I received this question actually in person. Yesterday, we had our ECCG's first annual client conference, which was awesome and super exciting. So, shout out to everybody who did so much work to make that a success. Staff, clients, it was a blast. It was awesome. But I received a very good question in person that I think I want to talk about here as well, because it's certainly not the first time I've received this question, and so we'll walk through it. The question was, look, my client is trying to find employment. What is it that I can do to support them in that? And the answer, per the waiver, is we can't help with employment. uh, we can't. That is not our job. So you guys have probably heard me talk in other trainings about kind of overlapping services and how DHS does not like services to overlap. We're in a box, and that box is positioned next to other services, and it isn't great for those boxes to kind of expand into each other. So strictly speaking, when it comes to employment, we can't be helping with it. However, that would be a very unsatisfying answer, and I'm so sorry. I don't like. I'm not trying to like keep you guys on the hook here. Um, uh, I find often when folks are asking about help with employment or finding a job or finding these things, one of the ways that we can help is by building soft skills, right? These are skills that work no matter what. Whether you are employed or you are not employed, or you are looking for a job, or you are just sort of chilling and living your life, being able to have like interpersonal skills and skills for how do I set up my life? Can I order things in my life? Am I able to create a good solid base for my day-to-day things? These are skills, obviously, that translate into employment very well. Being able to have a schedule, being able to manage time, being able to focus on tasks and knowing when you need to refocus or take a little break. These are skills that are not solely set for employment, right? These are skills that we need in life. However, they do help, obviously, if you are working. So I would say one of the ways, staff member, that you can help is by working on these sorts of skills, right? If you want something that is maybe a little bit more specific, one of the things that I have done with clients when they say, "God, I really want to figure out some ways that I can find a job," as I say, find a job. How about we start with volunteering, right? Volunteer work is an excellent thing to throw on resumes, and it is not the purview of employment services, right? If they are looking for a way to hone skills, if they're looking for a way to get into a community with other people who they don't know, to help a cause that they are trying to participate in or care deeply about, volunteering is a spectacular way to do that. And I've worked with we've had a lot of clients, including clients of my own, who really have taken to volunteering, especially as a way to very, very carefully start to creep into, is this something I'd like to do? This is similar to a job. Is this something that I feel like I can sustain in my life as it is? And if the answer is no, awesome. We don't need to worry about employment services. We can stick with our volunteering, and that is spectacular. If it is something that maybe I would like to grow into a career, then it is an excellent time to have that client, if they have not already, reach out to their case manager to discuss employment services. And there is a real exploratory bit to this that I think we can actually sort of help with, right? Apart from, well, what kind of job do you want? That's certainly an employment question, but what sort of things resonate with you? What causes do you care about? right? Are there things that we can explore that even if you don't get a job doing them, are there things that could bring your life more joy, more engagement, more involvement, more connection to the community that you are a part of? Those are some pretty safe ways to, I think, stay out of the lane of employment services, but also really be working on supporting a client in building those skills. Repetition is key. I am, uh, I don't frequent a gym. But if I did, I would probably say something like, I imagine you need to work out more than once in your life, right? You kind of want to build a routine, and then eventually you get stronger and whatnot. You can tell this is theoretical for me. But that repetition is a way to deeply ingrain your ability to learn these skills. And so, just like working out a muscle, if you want to help a client build these skills that are going to be helpful again with employment, but also helpful in life writ large, uh, work on these sorts of things. Find new places to explore. Find new people to engage with. If they're going to be getting a job, they're going to be talking to strangers at some point, right? Helping them feel comfortable to be able to do that, helping them build a schedule, a routine. These sorts of things go a really long way in helping a client build those kind of prerequisite skills that they will need for employment without it being specifically employment based, because that is helpful for our service and really for any service. So that was a really good question that I got yesterday during that conference. Loved the question, by the way. And certainly something that we deal with a whole lot. I know that it can be uncomfortable too. I would just, as a final note here, I know that it's uncomfortable to have a client say, "Hey, I need help with this, that, or the other," and look at them and say, "Well, that's actually not something that we can do," right? I think that there are ways that we can obviously assist our clients. Ooh, thank you. Other question. All right, let's see here. What's the best way to always try and get a new client? Oh, that's really a great question. I guess I don't know if this shows up in the replay, so I will voice it so that everybody can say, what is the best move if you're struggling on getting a new client to go out and try new things? I have suggested activities, but every session ends up at a park and then sitting at the client's house. Yeah. Whoo. Couple of things that I will note here. Thank you, first off, for the question. Second off, part of that just might be a lack of familiarity or comfort with services or with you in general. So, first things first, I kind of want to call that out, right? Um, if it's a new client, new to services, new to you, um, understand that they might be a little hesitant to start to do stuff with you until they're a little bit more familiar with you, right? Um, I have friends, which shocks people. But like I get uncomfortable. Like you're in my house, you're in my life, and I've known you for a very long time, and still I'm kind of unhappy about it. And so I am asking for people who are, welcoming me into their life to welcome an entire complete stranger who they do not know is going to consistently show up yet. They don't know really much about me. And so when I am beginning to work with a client, I understand that a lot of the things that we might do are probably going to be fairly basic, fairly surface level until they can start to build a bit of trust with me as they're working, knowing that if we do have plans for next week that are going to be a little bit more involved and exciting and engaging, that I will show up for those plans, that I will be able to complete those tasks with them. So I think first is going to be there is this adjustment period. All right. Second, how do we actually kind of get them to do these activities? First, I would say check out what interests they have, right? Are there things that they really do want to participate in? Whether it be something local or something that might take a little bit of planning because it's a little bit far away. If there is something that they have an interest in that you think might get them out of their house and engaging a little bit more in that community, start looking for activities in and around their space, right? First and foremost, these are services that are meant to be getting them out into the community nearby, right? Um, as much as I love groups that are very far away, it can be hard to create consistency when you are engaging with them. So, look for those interests. Look for things that are nearby first and foremost. Um, as I've noted, oddly enough, multiple times, it's warm. It's summertime. We're heading into that season. One thing that I've done in the past to motivate clients who are kind of hesitant to go out is I kind of remind them that in Minnesota, you have a window that you kind of need to hit if you want to do anything outside of the house, because there's a majority of the year where Minnesota is frozen and it's tough to get places, and unless you are me and you are well insulated, you probably don't want to spend a bunch of time outside in the winter. So creating this idea that, well, let's plan activities while we have the opportunity, um, can be helpful. I have actually found that to be fairly motivating for clients. This is the good time of year to get out and try new things. Uh, let's try that. Sitting in a park, and then kind of heading back to a client's home. I'm not going to say that would be uncharacteristic for a session with me for a little bit, right? While I am out and about, though, I want to try to encourage them. If they're already out of the house, there's already a change in frame of mind, right? I've seen that with certain clients. Once you leave the house, there is just a little bit of difference in them. So sometimes it can be hard to come up with ideas in their home. They are very stuck in their space. They have been looking at the same walls for a considerable amount of time often. If I'm able to talk to them while we are out and about, there's oftentimes a little bit more openness and a little bit more willingness to explore new things. So I would say utilize that as well. At the end of the day, if we are going many sessions and we're kind of not getting a whole lot of traction, I would encourage also to reach out to the field coordinator. And sometimes it helps having it come from a little bit more of an authority to say, hey, there are more things to this service than just sitting around the house, right? Like I talked about in the previous Q&A, I had a really awesome question about clients who really just want to focus on playing video games or very reluctant to kind of leave. And preparing for transitions can also be really helpful, right? If you've got a client, and this isn't necessarily uh, uh, the most in line with your question, but I will reiterate what I said last time because it can be helpful. If you have a client who is very into whatever activity it is they are doing, whether it's video games or watching television, and they are reluctant to kind of transition away from that activity, giving transition reminders helps a lot. Hey, we're going to go do something in 15 minutes. Don't forget we're going to be heading out and running some errands and checking things out in 15 minutes. Okay, well, we've got 10 minutes left, so prepare. Oh, 5 minutes. Hey, 2 minutes. Okay, the reckoning has arrived. It is time for us to get out of this house and shut down our Xbox or whatever it is, right? Um, just doing priming things to get them prepared for that transition. There is a real mindset to getting a client to kind of open up and explore these sorts of things. And so I would heavily utilize um, both environmental and transitional ways to prime clients to try out and change their headspace for activities to do, timing, keeping an eye on how long they are actually doing activities. Um, Reminding them that there is more to services than just sitting in a park, right? Um, Not every client, I would also say, is usually going to be the most engaged. There is a likelihood that they might say, "Look, I'm actually kind of doing fine in my life in that I don't really care to meet people. And yeah, it might be great, but right now I would kind of like to focus on other sorts of service aspects, right? I'd like to really focus on getting things set up around my house and having a good organizational thing." So I would say that engaging a getting client out is obviously important, but it may not be the most important at the time for that client. So there may be a little bit of undulation in a client's life for I'm ready to get out and do stuff. And actually, no, I'm not. And okay, maybe I am. Um, and it's going to be hard if a client is new, but finding the right time to strike to maybe get them engaged is also very helpful. That's such a long answer to your question. Oh man, can I run with anything? So I don't know if that's helpful. Man, I hope that at least one sentence there you say, "Oh, interesting. That's good. That's helpful." But if not, man, I'm sorry. That was a really long-winded way, I guess, of me saying, I don't know. I hope that's helpful. But those are definitely strategies and things that I try to keep track of when I am working with a client who might be reluctant to get out and utilize time in an effective way to engage with things around them. Any other questions? Uh, chat. I've heard that that's the nomenclature you're kind of supposed to do when you're doing a live stream. I don't see anything coming through on chat. And I ran out of my questions that people have submitted or asked me. So it's 12:30. If this was your lunch break, I hope what you had for lunch was really good. I had a beverage. Um, I am thrilled to be continuously getting questions. So please, I would encourage anybody watching, if you do have questions, send me what it is you would like to know more about. I will be sending out a recap email with some helpful links for MA renewals. As always, if you have other questions, shoot me an email, send me a text message. I was thrilled to be able to do this. Thank you again for asking a question live here. I hope that you all have a really excellent weekend. It's going to be warmer this weekend, so I guess for those of you who enjoy that, man, get out there and enjoy it. But for me, I'll probably be staying inside. Have an excellent weekend. Thank you guys so much. I'm here for it. So if you got questions, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for it. Please, please, please send me those questions. Otherwise, have a spectacular weekend, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.